Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to Mod Driven. Today, I wanted to hopefully help some folks out there with the Honda Civic. Something I had happen recently and discovered it was actually my fault. A problem I created with the Honda Civic that was due to a mod that I did. So let me tell you what happened. The other day, I'm out driving around in the Honda Civic, and the windows were dirty. So I decided I needed to clean them, of course. So I hit the stalk, I pull it forward. I actually can hear the motor going for the windshield wiper fluid, but there's no fluid coming out. And honestly, that's really one of the only things, if not the only thing, I hadn't tested on this car since I got it. So I thought, oh great, I've got a problem, but it doesn't seem to be the motor. So obviously it's got to be in the tubing or the nozzles on the hood. And if you didn't know, the nozzles are actually located right down on the edge of the hood. I don't know if you can see it, but there's one right here and there's one right over there. So I checked those out and there was a little bit of fluid on the driver's side nozzle, but nothing on the passenger side. So I was stumped. I didn't know what was wrong with it. So I watched a couple videos and I thought, well, maybe a hose popped off. And if that was the case, then there'll be fluid somewhere because the motor is pumping the fluid. So I came outside, this is about 11:30 at night, and popped the hood, hit the button, and couldn't see any fluid on top. Looked on the bottom over there, didn't see any fluid either. So I got to looking around, and let me pop the hood. I'll show you what I discovered it was. Again, something that, of course, I created. And this is one thing about doing mods on any vehicle, right? Sometimes when you do mods, you can actually create problems yourself. And that is certainly the case here. Let's see if I can do this one hand. I should, because I have the struts on here. And the struts are what caused the problem. Over here is where the hose is for the windshield wiper fluid. And you can see it right here up against the strut. Now, before I made the correction, it was over here, right in this area. And when I would shut the hood, it would actually pinch under here. It was kind of catching in between the area right here. It would pinch. And that was shutting off the flow of windshield wiper fluid. Now, if you didn't know, the pressure in a hose or the whole system is pretty low. It does not take much. I mean, you could just squeeze that tube with your fingers and it would stop the flow of fluid. It's not very strong. So just a little bend with a little pinch right here in this area was enough. Now, of course, I've got the strut on here. I didn't want to take apart the whole hose, right? So what I did, this is the fix. I just unscrewed the nub that the strut connects to and pulled off the edge over here, I guess, through, and was able to get it on the other side of the hose and move the hose over to this edge. Now, when the hood shuts, I don't have any issues. Everything is good. I have windshield washer fluid. So that's all it took to fix it, fortunately, because the motor for the system is located buried right down in this area. You basically have to take the wheel off, pull the inner fender back, and then it's exposed under there. I had seen somebody who was having the same kind of a problem. They could hear the motor, but they got no fluid out of the system. They actually had a hose cut underneath there so that the water was just draining out on the ground. When he would run the system, all of the fluid would just flow out. And the bad thing about that is once he got it going, it kind of created a siphon. So it would suck all of the fluid out of the reservoir and then he would have nothing left. I mean, what a bummer. Fortunately for him, didn't seem to be too difficult of a fix. He was able to just put some sort of a barb in the lines, put them back together, and solved his problem. Anyway, I just wanted to get on here, kind of talk about that a bit. If you've got a car, a Honda Civic, something else that maybe you've put struts on, of course, the hose is always going to be in the way because it flows up generally right over near the hinge where the strut is going to be. That's the first thing to check before you start digging around down here trying to figure out where the problem is. Check your hose, check your nozzles. And by the way, you can see the nozzles here. There's one there and there's one over there. Always check those to make sure that they're not clogged, particularly in the wintertime. If you're in a cold weather climate, it's possible to get ice covering those things. And obviously, since they're such low pressure, you're not going to hit the switch and blow everything out of them. Anyway, leave a comment. Let me know if that's ever happened to you. I'd be curious to know. Also, real quick, I do have 2 additional channels. Rob Motive, all about the Toyota Tacoma, and Rob Motive JT, all about the Jeep Gladiator. Check them out, and if you're interested, why not subscribe? And while you're at it, smash the subscribe button here too. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Bye.